The biggest lie about investing, that it's only for people with deep pockets. This myth has convinced millions of people to stay on the sidelines while their money sits in savings accounts, earning basically nothing. Meanwhile, inflation quietly steals their purchasing power every single year. The reality is that modern technology has made investing accessible to everyone. You can own shares of the world's biggest companies with spare change. You can automate your investments so it happens without you even thinking about it. The only thing standing between you and building wealth is this outdated belief about how much money you actually need to get started. Let's break down where this myth actually comes from. Most people think you need at least $1,000 to buy a single share of expensive stocks like Amazon or Google, but that's completely wrong. This belief keeps more people out of the stock market than any other factor. Here's how investing used to work. You walked into a broker's office with your checkbook. You told them you wanted to buy IBM stock. They said one share cost $120. You either had $120 or you didn't. No middle ground existed. Want to buy Amazon at $3,000 per share? You needed the full amount up front. This system locked out regular people from owning pieces of the best companies. Think of it like this. Imagine you could only buy whole pizzas, never slices. A fancy pizza costs $100. Most people would never taste that pizza because they can't afford the whole thing. Meanwhile, wealthy people buy multiple pizzas and get richer from all that delicious pizza. That's exactly what happened with expensive stocks for decades. This old system created a massive wealth gap. Rich investors bought shares of Google, Apple, and Amazon when they were cheap. Regular people watched from the sidelines because they couldn't afford full shares. Those expensive stocks became even more expensive as the companies grew. The gap widened every year. But technology changed everything. Fractional shares broke down these barriers forever. Here's what that really means. You can now own a piece of any company, no matter how expensive their stock price gets. It's like being able to buy pizza slices instead of whole pizzas. Let's look at real examples. Apple stock trades around $190 per share. With fractional shares, you can buy $10 worth and own a real piece of Apple. Amazon costs about $150 per share. You can buy $25 worth and officially become an Amazon shareholder. Google stock runs around $140 per share. You can invest $50 and own part of the world's biggest search company. Here's the simple version of how it works. The broker buys whole shares and divides them up among investors. You get the exact same returns as someone who bought a full share. If Apple stock goes up 10%, your fractional share goes up 10% too. No difference whatsoever. Major brokers now offer fractional shares with zero fees. Fidelity lets you buy fractional shares of thousands of stocks. Schwab does the same thing. Robinhood built their entire platform around making investing accessible to everyone. These companies want your business even if you start with pocket change. So why do people still believe they need thousands of dollars to start investing? The answer comes down to old habits and outdated information. Your parents probably learned about investing when you needed big amounts. Financial advisors used to have minimum account requirements. Old investing books still mention these barriers like they exist today. The psychology runs deeper than outdated information. People feel more confident investing larger amounts because it seems more serious. Investing $50 feels like play money. Investing $5,000 feels like real investing. But your returns depend on percentages, not dollar amounts. A 10% gain on $50 equals the same percentage as a 10% gain on $5,000. Here's something most people don't realize. Starting small actually beats waiting for large amounts. Time matters more than the amount you start with. Every month you wait costs you money in potential returns. The stock market doesn't care if you invest $20 or $20,000. It treats every dollar the same way. But here's where it gets even easier. You don't even need to think about picking stocks or deciding how much to invest. Apps like Acorns and Stash have turned this concept into reality. What if every coffee you bought could automatically invest your spare change in the stock market? This isn't some fantasy from the future. It's happening right now through micro-investing apps that turn your everyday spending into wealth building. Here's how it works. These apps connect to your debit or credit card. Every time you make a purchase, they round up to the nearest dollar. That extra change gets invested automatically. You buy something for $4.30, it rounds up to $5, and 70 cents goes straight into the stock market. You don't think about it. You don't feel it. It just happens. Think of it like this. You probably lose change in your couch cushions or leave it in your car. This technology finds that lost money and puts it to work for you. Instead of spare change disappearing, it starts growing. Most people spend more on streaming services than they think they can afford to invest. Netflix costs $15 per month. Disney Plus costs $8. Spotify costs $10. That's $33 per month just for entertainment. Yet these same people say they can't afford to invest. Meanwhile, they're already losing spare change daily without realizing it. Let's walk through a real example. You buy your morning coffee for $4.30. The app rounds it up to $5 and invests 70 cents. You grab lunch for $12.75. It rounds to $13 and invests 25 cents. You buy gas for $45.20. It rounds to $46 and invests 80 cents. That's $1.75 invested from 3 normal purchases. Here's the simple math. The average person makes about 15 purchases per week using their card. Each roundup averages about 50 cents. That's $7.50 per week, or $30 per month. Some people hit $50 to $100 per month just from roundups because they buy everything with their card. Popular micro-investing platforms make this process simple. Acorns pioneered the roundup feature and remains the most well-known option. You link your bank account, and it handles everything automatically. Stash gives you more control over what you invest in, letting you pick individual stocks or funds. Capital offers different rounding rules, like rounding up to the nearest $2 or $5 instead of just $1. Let's break down how these apps actually work. They don't store your money in some random account. They partner with established investment companies and FDIC-insured banks. Your investments go into real mutual funds or ETFs that hold actual stocks and bonds. You own fractional shares of these funds, just like any other investor. People worry about safety with these apps. Here's what that really means for your money. These platforms use bank-level encryption to protect your information. They don't store your banking passwords. They only see transaction amounts, not what you bought. Your investments are covered by SIPC insurance, the same protection that covers traditional brokerage accounts. Fees vary between platforms, but stay reasonable for small accounts. Acorns charges $1 to $5 per month, depending on your account type. Stash costs $1 to $9 per month based on features. Some platforms charge a small percentage of your balance instead. These fees matter less as your account grows larger. You can access your money when needed, though it takes a few days to sell investments and transfer funds back to your bank. This isn't meant for emergency money you might need tomorrow. Think of it as long-term savings that grows while you live your normal life. The real power comes from what happens when these small amounts compound over time. Your 70-cent coffee roundup grows into something much bigger than you'd expect. Time transforms these tiny investments into serious money. Here's the final insight that changes everything. Starting with $25 today beats waiting 5 years to invest $500. Compound interest means your money grows on top of previous growth. Someone who starts at age 25 with just $2,000 per year ends up with $560,000 by retirement. Wait until age 35 with the same amount. You get $245,000, less than half. These figures assume an average 8% annual return. Your challenge is simple. Download a micro-investing app or open a fractional share account today. Link in the description. Start with whatever you have right now. Don't let that old myth steal another month of growth. Start with whatever you have now. The biggest investment companies want your business regardless of how much you start with. Drop a comment below and tell me what small amount you'll invest first.